Being born during a famine. Talk about bad timing. Out of every year you could have been born, you show up when there's barely enough food for the people already alive. Your first cry doesn't make everyone smile. It makes everyone look at each other, because every single person is thinking the same thing. How are we supposed to feed another mouth? You don't understand it, obviously. You're a baby. You just cry when you're hungry. But every time you cry, someone has to give up part of their meal. Maybe your father skips dinner. Maybe your mother pretends she's already eaten. Parents have always sacrificed for their children. The difference is, back then, they weren't sacrificing comfort. They were sacrificing calories they desperately needed themselves. And here's the cruel part. It's not your fault. You didn't choose when to be born. You just happened to arrive at the worst possible time. Sometimes surviving wasn't about being strong. It was about being lucky enough to be born when food was everywhere instead of nowhere. Being chosen as a sacrifice. One bad harvest. That's all it took. Yesterday, you were just another person in the tribe. Today, people think killing you might solve all their problems. It starts when the food disappears. The hunters come back with nothing. Children start getting sick. Everyone's hungry. Everyone's scared. Nobody knows what's happening. Then someone says, maybe the gods are angry. And suddenly, the conversation isn't about finding more food anymore. It's about finding you. Now, not every ancient society practiced human sacrifice. Many never did. But the ones that did genuinely believed one person's death could save everyone else. Imagine hearing that. Not from your enemies, from your own people. The people who raised you, the people you grew up with. Your own parents might even believe it's the right thing to do. Not because they stopped loving you, because they're terrified. If sacrificing one person means their other children survive, that's a choice nobody should ever have to make. Now imagine being the person they choose. Yesterday everyone was smiling at you. Today everyone suddenly seems nicer. They give you extra food. People keep checking on you. Nobody will tell you why. Then it hits you. They're not being nice because they care. They're saying goodbye. Being left behind. Breaking your leg today is bad. Breaking your leg 30,000 years ago? That could have been the end of your story. Your tribe is migrating because winter's coming. Food is disappearing. The animals have already moved on. Everyone has to leave, including you. There's just one problem. You can't walk. At first, everyone tries to help. A few people support you. Someone carries your spear. Another person helps you over a river. But after a few days, you're slowing everyone down. The children are getting tired. The older people can't keep up. The hunters need to reach the next valley before the food does. Then someone says the thing nobody wants to hear. We can't carry them anymore. Imagine hearing that, not because people hate you, because they have no choice. If everyone stays, everyone might die. So one morning, you wake up, and the camp is gone. Maybe they leave you some dried meat. Maybe they leave you a fire. Maybe they promise they'll come back. But deep down, everyone knows they probably won't. Yesterday, you were part of the tribe. Today, you're on your own. Being the person everyone thinks is cursed. Imagine this. The hunt fails. People shrug it off. The hunt fails again. Now everyone's nervous. Then a child gets sick. A storm destroys part of the camp. Someone falls off a cliff. At this point, people stop believing it's just bad luck. They start looking for someone to blame. Unfortunately, they land on you. Maybe you were born with a strange birthmark. Maybe weird things just happened whenever you were around. Or maybe you were simply the easiest person to point a finger at. Ancient humans didn't understand bacteria, or viruses, or why lightning hits one tree instead of another. So when life stopped making sense, sometimes the only explanation they had was, someone must have cursed us. Imagine walking through camp and conversations suddenly stop. Parents quietly pull their children closer. Nobody wants to sit next to you, not because you've done anything wrong, because they're scared that whatever bad luck they think you have might rub off on them. That's the scary thing about fear. Once people convince themselves you're the problem, proving you're innocent becomes almost impossible. And believe it or not, life could get even worse, being the community wife. Imagine reaching adulthood, only to find out your future has already been decided. Not by you, by everyone else. In some ancient societies, relationships didn't work the way they do today. Marriage wasn't always about love. Sometimes it was about survival. Sometimes it was about keeping the peace. And in some cultures, one woman could have relationships with several men within the same group. The reasons varied. It could strengthen family bonds, reduce conflict, or help ensure children were cared for by the whole community. But let's be honest, nobody was asking for your opinion. Imagine every major decision about your life being made before you even got a chance to make one yourself. Who you lived with, who you had children with, what your future looked like. You simply accepted it, because saying no wasn't really an option. Today we spend years trying to figure out who we want to be with. Back then, that decision might have already been made for you the day you were born, being banished. There's something worse than being hated, being forgotten. Imagine making one mistake. Maybe you stole food. Maybe you broke a sacred rule. Maybe everyone just needed someone to blame. Whatever happened, the elders make their decision. You're leaving. No second chance, no appeal, no, I'll do better. Just leave. At first, it doesn't even feel real. You know these people. You grew up with them. You've hunted beside them, laughed with them, shared meals with them. Surely someone will speak up. Nobody does. One by one, they look away. Because once the decision is made, helping you could mean joining you. You pick up the few things you own, turn around, and start walking. No destination, no plan. Just a forest full of animals that would happily make you their next meal. People often think the punishment was being kicked out. It wasn't. The punishment was knowing that the people you'd trust with your life had decided they no longer wanted you around. Being born different. Let's be honest. Ancient life wasn't built for people who were different. Maybe you were born with one leg shorter than the other. Maybe you couldn't hear. Maybe your eyesight was terrible. Maybe you were simply smaller and weaker than everyone else. None of that was your fault. But nature doesn't really care whose fault it is. Every single day was physical. You had to walk for miles, climb steep hills, cross freezing rivers, run from predators. Even carrying firewood could become a challenge. Now, here's the part most people don't know. Archaeologists have found the remains of disabled people who lived for many years. That means someone helped them, someone shared food, someone slowed down for them, someone refused to leave them behind. And honestly, that's one of the strongest pieces of evidence that ancient humans actually cared about each other. But kindness has limits. If food disappeared, or winter lasted longer than expected, those impossible choices came back. You weren't just hoping to survive nature, you were hoping your tribe could still afford to help you survive it. Being the child nobody wanted. Imagine being born, and the first thing people think isn't, what should we name the baby? It's, can we even keep it alive? That sounds heartless. Until you remember where they lived. Every day was a fight to survive. There were no supermarkets, no farms, no backup plan. If the hunt failed, people went hungry. So another baby didn't just mean another family member, it meant another mouth to feed. Now, that doesn't mean ancient parents didn't love their children, they absolutely did. But love doesn't fill an empty stomach. Imagine growing up knowing your parents had to give up meals just so you could eat. Or worse. Knowing some people in the tribe never wanted you there in the first place. Not because they hated you, because they were scared everyone would starve. Sometimes the hardest thing about ancient life was simply being born at the wrong time. Being the last survivor. Now, imagine losing everything. Not your food, not your home, your people. One day, your tribe leaves to hunt. Or maybe another tribe attacks. Maybe disease spreads through the camp. Whatever happened, they're gone. Every single one of them. You're the only person left. At first, you probably don't even believe it. You call their names, you search the forest, you check every shelter, nothing, just silence. Then reality finally hits. Who's keeping watch while you sleep tonight? Who's helping you hunt? Who's treating your injuries? Who's making sure the fire doesn't go out while you're asleep? Nobody. Humans didn't survive because we were the biggest, or the fastest, or the strongest. We survived because there was always someone beside us, someone to warn us, someone to help us,